Hi, my name is Yona. I'm the after school leader at Field Teen Center, and today I'm going to be talking about the Simon Snow trilogy from start to finish. Whether you're new to the series or partway in, I hope this video will help you decide whether to pick it up or continue it, or if it's just not for you. I really enjoyed parts of the series and other parts didn't quite land for me. As always, this is just my opinion of the series. If you like this series and disagree, more power to you, and also we'd love to hear from you. Whether you want to argue with me about Simon Snow, get recommendations for other books, or just say hi, you can always reach out to us on Instagram through our DMs or through email, and we'd love to hear from you. For anyone who's not aware, the Simon Snow trilogy by Rainbow Rowell actually starts with a different, unrelated book called Fangirl, which is a contemporary fiction story about a college freshman who is having a little bit of trouble adjusting socially and deals by writing fanfic. And she specifically writes for Simon Snow, which is completely and totally different from Harry Potter. I don't know why you would even suggest it. And she's rewriting her version of the final book in which Simon and Baz are together, which is not true in the canon of Simon Snow in the fiction of Fangirl. Rainbow Rowell was so interested in this fictional fan fiction that she decided to just write it. So in the real Simon Snow of our world, as opposed to the world of Fangirl, it's canon that Simon Snow and his roommate Baz are super duper gay for each other, and the books are mostly about this relationship. So if you like a lot of fluff or hurt comfort and you were a fan of Harry Potter fanfic, there is a lot for you to like here. I'll go through each book one by one. And I should warn you, there will be spoilers. The first book in the trilogy is Carry On, which follows Simon and Baz's final year at Watford, which is a magical school for magical youth. In my opinion, this is the best of the trilogy because it has a good mix of that good Simon and Baz pining for each other content and magic. These books are not very high magic. They don't go into a lot of technical detail about how magic works, and there isn't even a ton of plot related to magic, though there's a little bit. The magic is mostly just a giant joke about language and about magical systems and about magical schools, and picking apart some of the tropes in Harry Potter and other stories like it. And I think in the first book in particular, these jokes are funny, they don't overstay their welcome, they don't get in the way of the plot or the relationship, and it's a nice happy balance. The second book, Wayward Sun, deals with the aftermath of the first book, in which, spoilers, Simon has been put in the position of having to kill his mentor, the sort of Dumbledore figure of the story, and also he's lost all of his magic. He's saved the world of magic, but he has no more of it himself and only has these giant dragon wings and a tail. So he's kind of a freak in the magical world now because he doesn't have magic anymore, and he's obviously a freak in the normal world for reasons. So even though he has saved the day, he's super depressed. So Baz and their friend Penelope decide that the solution is an American road trip. So they get on a plane, they leave the UK, they come to the United States, and get into a bunch of trouble. This book is much more plot heavy than it is relationship heavy because Simon and Baz are kind of on the out. They don't know what they're doing. They're in limbo the whole time. And it makes a kind of sense because they've both been traumatized, and one of their responses to trauma is to try to pull away, deal with their problems on their own, which is a thing people do. However, it is kind of tiresome and it's kind of confusing. There's no resolution for them in this book. You have to wait until the third book. The plot kind of jumps around. The plot is never the strongest point of this series. There's probably the most plotty stuff in this book of any book in the series. And some parts of it are fun and interesting. I think that it's a unique premise. There's this vampire cult, and they're vampires sort of in the way of like the energy vampires of What We Do in the Shadows. These vampires definitely do actually suck blood, but they're very like corporate, and they're taking advantage of people who are trying to better themselves. So that's fun, and I like that. But I think this is the weakest of the books. I definitely wouldn't stop here if you're gonna read the series at all, because it kind of leaves you in the lurch between book 1 and book 3. Book 3, Anyway the Wind Blows, came out in July 2021, and it wraps up the series. It picks up immediately after book 2 and ties off some of the loose ends, but not all of them, and gives us some resolution for Simon and Baz. A lot of fans responded to the second book demanding, where is the Simon and Baz content? And answer, it is all in book 3. It's very incredibly fluffy. If you like fluff, you will enjoy this. Unfortunately, I do not really enjoy fluff. I need some substance. My problem with Simon and Baz is that they don't really feel like real people to me. They're fun, it's a good escape, and I do think that they both grapple with their queerness in some ways that are relatable, but they just don't feel like real people to me. So when they're pining for each other and when they're trying to sort out whether or not they're gonna have sex, I just didn't care that much. I did enjoy there's some really good conversation between the two of them about consent and about continuing consent and checking in with each other. And I thought that was really cool to have modeled. But my goodness, it's slow and there is a lot of banter. You can tell that Rainbow Rowell has at least read a lot of fanfic and probably has written some of it, just the way she does dialogue. So again, if you like fanfic, especially if you like Harry Potter fanfic, this will be a very fun read for you because it feels kind of like that world. If you don't, but it is a very specific flavor and it might not be for everyone. Plot-wise, like I said, not everything that starts in book 2 is really dealt with in book 3. Those cool vampires, forget them, they're gone, they don't matter. We do get some resolution with Shepard, who's a new character who appears in book 2, and that was maybe the most fun part of the book for me. I liked that character and the way they solve their problem, which I don't want to spoil because, like I said, it is my favorite part of the book. We do get some answers about Simon Snow's identity, and I think that's satisfying for people who are very invested in these characters, but it is mostly these two boys being fluffy and sweet with each other. There you go. In the third book, Rainbow Rowell also tries to give us a femme for femme relationship. I think maybe to balance out the fact that gay male relationships get a lot more representation in fiction, and especially in fan fiction. And it's cool that she tried that, but it didn't really work for me. Agatha's just kind of a wet noodle the entire story. Her role is to show how Simon's chosen one thing affects other people around him and to be upset at being kidnapped all the time because of him. And that's really all she does. So her getting a girlfriend is a little bit of growth. I think it's a sign that she's looking beyond herself and maybe reconnecting with people, which I like in principle, but there is no chemistry between these guys, and it really feels like an afterthought that doesn't completely make sense to me, but it's there, I guess, and if that appeals to you, that might be another reason to read these books. So overall, I would say you should check this series out if you like queer relationships between boys, if you like fluff and humor, if plot is less interesting to you than just watching characters vibe, and if you are curious about the hype and you want to be in the know. I don't think it's a bad series, but it's certainly not my favorite. It's also not even my favorite example of queer relationships in young adult fiction. For some other examples, I highly recommend Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. Not only is this a gay relationship between two boys, one of them is trans and one of them is cis, but also one of them's alive and the other one's a spirit. How's that for some drama? It's also a lot of really great Latinx representation, and I was just so very attached to these characters. I think they're very funny, they were very relatable, and they felt very real. And I am excited to see what else Aiden Thomas puts forward in the future. Another fantasy book that has queer relationships is When We Were Magic by Sarah Gailey. Gailey identifies as non-binary, and as you might expect, there's a spectrum of different gender presentations and kinds of queerness in this story. The central romance is between two girls, but there's this big group of friends and they all go to school together and they're trying to balance their magical lives and their regular social lives. So I think that a lot of that dynamic would appeal to fans of the Simon Snow trilogy. And possibly most similar to the Simon Snow series is The Fascinators. It's set in a version of Georgia where magic is common but takes effort to learn, and not everybody is interested in doing it. But there is a magical club for folks who are trying to practice magic and wanting to compete in the annual conference. Of course, our main characters are in this magical club, but the focus is on the relationship between Sam and one of the other boys in this group who he's been friends with for a very long time, and he can't figure out whether or not there's something more going on because James isn't out as anything, and it's kind of hard to tell if he is gay or not, and if he is he into Sam in the way that Sam is into him? So there's some really juicy friend drama here. And also, I think that James as a character is really similar to Simon. He's this sort of accidental ticking time bomb of magic just waiting to implode. So I highly recommend these for fans of Simon Snow to get some more queer representation in their young adult fantasy reading. Like I said, we would love to hear from you. Let us know what you think about the Simon Snow trilogy. Were you happy with the final book? Were you disappointed? Let us know. Thanks for watching and have a great day.